Hi friends, in today's lecture we will study how to create these fun interactive dashboards in Microsoft Excel. So without any further ado, let's dive straight into the topic. So first we will see about what do we mean by a dashboard. So here you can see in this Excel sheet at the bottom I have various sheets and one of the sheet is data. This is my data. As you can see in this data, you have column headings like serial number, date, salesman name, region, item which he has sold, quantity, unit price, and the total amount. Now I want to show a visual representation of this data, and that is where the dashboard can help me. So a dashboard is nothing but a visual representation of your data so that the data looks more meaningful. Here you can see on the left side I am having these 4 buttons, or you can call them as tabs. If I click on dashboard, it's the main dashboard where I get the overall sales details achieved by the salesman. If I click on products, I get overall details of the products. If I click on salesman, I get overall details of the salesman. And if I click on about, I will get details about this project. Also, if you click on this dashboard, you will see that these dashboards are live. Example, now it is showing you data for all the 4 zones. If I want to see data only for East, I would click on East. If I want to click and see data only for North, I'll click on North. If I want to see North and South together, so I'll keep the Shift key pressed and click on South. So I get to see North and South. If I want to see all of them again, I can just clear the filters and I get all the data back again. Same way, if you want to see for a specific month, you can click over here, or a series of months, you can click over here, or all the data, you just clear the filter. Same way, if you want details for any particular product, just click on the product and you will get the sales details for that product. And if I want to see all the data, I'll again clear the filter. Same applies for the products. So if I click on the products tab, you will see the sales of the products, the top 3 selling products and the top 3 less selling products. And I can see them zone wise as well. Same way for the salesman, I can see the top performing salesman and the poor performing salesman and the overall sales. And finally, if I click on about, I get to see the details of my project. So friends, this is how dashboards can help you visually representing your data. So without any further ado, let's see how to create these dashboards. In order to create this dashboard, we'll start from scratch. So we'll click on File and we will select Blank Workbook. Now the first thing which we would do is we would create 3 sheets. One is dashboard, second is data, and third is pivot tables. So onto our blank sheet, I rename the first sheet into dashboard. I add one more sheet and I rename it into data, and I add one more sheet and rename this to pivot table. Now I'll go back to my original sheet, and to avoid time I'll just copy this entire data by pressing Ctrl C and come into our blank sheet, and into the data worksheet I'll paste the entire data. Now we'll proceed with constructing the dashboard. So I will click on the dashboard sheet. Now what we want to do first is, I want to create this blue rectangle. So you can see it is having rounded corners. So let us see how to do that. So we come back to a blank worksheet and we click on Insert, and in Insert we select Illustrations. In Illustrations we select Shapes, and in Shapes we select Rectangle Rounded Corner, and we draw one rectangle so that it encompasses the entire screen area visible to you. Now if I want to adjust these rounded corners, I click on this orange button and I can take it to the left to my size or to my requirement. Okay, ensure that your dashboard is coming entirely in one screen so that you don't have to scroll a bit. So I'll just reduce the height of my dashboard so that it's able to be visible in the entire screen area. Now my first rounded rectangle is ready. Now within this I want to make another rounded rectangle. So I will once again click on, either you can do it this way, that is click on Insert and then Illustrations and Rectangle, or you can duplicate this shape by pressing Ctrl D and then change the fill color. So click on Home, and here you have the fill color, and we'll fill it with a lighter shade of blue, something like this. And then we would adjust the size of this inner rounded rectangle so that it comes within our dashboard area, and we would make it smaller so that we can accommodate the buttons on the left side. I don't want the outline for this rectangle, so I can click on Home, and over here I can select that I don't want any borders. Okay, you can alternately do from this shape format also, and this shape outline is there, select no outline, and same way for this rectangle also shape format, and you can select shape outline and say no outline. So our two rectangles are ready. Ensure that they are equal on all sides, right? So let us come back to our original sheet. So our two rectangles are ready. This is the outer one and this is the inner light one. Now next what we want to do is, we want to create and get this timeline over here, where you can see this date, January, February, March, etc. In order to do that, I'll once again come to my sheet and click on Data. Click anywhere inside the data and then click on Insert, and in Insert select Pivot Tables. Now it will ask you where do you want the pivot table. So select Existing Sheet and then click on Pivot Table and click over here on the cell A2 and then click on OK. Now we would click anywhere inside the pivot table and then click on Insert, and in Insert select Timeline. In Timeline it will automatically pick up the date field from your data, so click on Date and click on OK. So you will see a timeline will come on your screen. After ensuring that the timeline is selected, click on Timeline. Now over here you can remove these headings like the header, the selection label, the scroll bar, the timeline level, etc. Now I want the header, so I'll select the header, and I want the scroll bar as well, so I select the scroll bar as well. And I want all the months to be visible, so I'll slightly extend the bar so that all the months are visible. And then I will press Ctrl C to copy it, and then I would click on my dashboard and Ctrl V and paste the dashboard over here. Now I would adjust the dashboard to a suitable location in our dashboard scene. Next, we would click on the pivot table. Again, ensure that we click anywhere inside the pivot table, and then we click on Insert, and in Insert we select Slicer. In Slicer, we'll select first the region and second is the item, and then click on OK. We will bring them at a suitable location on the sheet. Now this region, you can see they are coming one below each other. So I'll ensure that the region slicer is selected, and then click on Slicer, and here you have one column, so I'll make it to 2 columns. And I can also adjust the height of this particular slicer this way. Then I can press Ctrl C to copy it, and I will click on Dashboard and Ctrl V and paste it in the dashboard. Then I would bring it at a suitable location on my dashboard sheet, and I would also adjust the width of the slicer. And again, in the slicer you get this option to adjust the height of the slicer so that it looks decent as compared to the date field. Again we click on pivot tables, and here you have the item. So again I click on Slicer, and here you can see you have one column and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 items. So we change the number of columns to 6, and then we adjust the height of the slicer, and then we press Ctrl C to copy the slicer, and we come to Dashboard and Ctrl V and paste the slicer over here. So I bring the slicer down and I adjust the width of the slicer so that I can see all the individual item names this way. Next, let us see what do we fill over here. So we will go into the original sheet, and you can see that we want this icon of analytics, and then we want to write this text, and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 rectangular boxes we want to paste. So we'll start with placing this icon and this text analytics. So we'll come back to our original sheet, and in order to get that icon we click on Insert, and in Insert we would select Illustrations. In Illustrations we select Icons. In Icons we would select an icon which looks like that of a graph. So we'll select this icon and we would click on Insert, and we would bring it at a suitable location, and we would adjust the height and width of this icon. And now close to it I want to write down Analytics, so I would click on Insert, and in Insert I want to insert a text box, so I would click on Text Box, and I would draw a text box over here, and over here I would type analytics. Now I will select the text, I would click on home, make it bold and increase the size of it. And if you see the box is coming filled, I want to remove this fill. So I'll click on shape format and I would select shape fill and I would select no fill. Also if you see there's a rectangle outline, so I don't want that. Again I'd click on shape format, shape outline and select no outline. So the outline is gone. I'd slightly increase the font size again and bring this at a suitable location. So analytics, the first part is ready. Now below that I want to place these rectangles. We'll start with placing these 1, 2 and 3 rectangles first. So we'll come back to our sheet and we would click on insert and illustrations and shapes and we would select rectangle and we would draw 3 rectangles. We would press Ctrl D so that we get the rectangles of equal dimension, and again Ctrl D, which stands for duplicate, and bring them over here. Now we have to adjust the width of these rectangles. So you can see you have 1, 2, 3 items here and 1, 2, 3 items here. So this becomes a kind of center line. So I bring it over here and stretch this down like this, and I would bring this rectangle over here and this rectangle over here, and I would stretch this to go to the side. Always ensure that it looks good even from all the sides. So ensure that your text, graphics, everything is within the margin of what you have composed, and as much margin you have, equivalent margin you should have on this side as well. So you can adjust them. And so our rectangles are done of equal height. Now we want to put 2 rounded rectangles here. So I'll again click on insert, illustration, shapes, and I select rounded rectangle and I draw 1 rounded rectangle this way. And I press Ctrl D to duplicate it and bring another rounded rectangle over here. Let's see in the original sheet how it looks like. So in the original sheet also you can see 2 rounded rectangles of equal size, but there is a overlapping rectangle on top of it. So we'll create that as well. So we'll first stretch the rectangles and make them of equal size like this and of equal height as well. Then I want to change the fill color, so I click on shape format and here you have shape fill and I fill it with a dark green color. And same way I select this rectangle, shape format, and I shape fill it with this color. Then I select this rectangle, Ctrl D, duplicate it, and I place it on top of this over here like this, and I change the shape fill color to white, and I adjust the width of this rectangle, and I don't want the outline, so I select shape outline, no outline, and same way for the outer rectangle also, shape outline I select no outline. Same way I select this shape format and shape outline I select no outline, Ctrl D, duplicate, and I fill it with a white color, and then I match it with this rectangle, and I reduce the width of it this way. Now you also see that the height is also suitably adjusted so that it should look like one continuous shape, and again, as I told you, they should be in one line. Alright, now over here I want to enter a kind of rupee symbol. If you see, there's a rupee symbol here and a graph symbol here, okay, a sale symbol. So this rupee symbol, you can just Google it and you can get it. So I have already Googled it and have copied it here. So I'll just copy it and I'll come into my dashboard and I will paste it here at this location. You can also, if you are having Office 365, you can also get that rupee symbol in this insert in illustrations in icons. Same way I want that symbol for sales. So this is that symbol. I'll select that and I will select insert and I'll bring it here and I will adjust the height, and if I want to change the color of this, so I can click on the graphic and format that graphic. So you have this fill color for the graphic, which you get by right clicking. I fill this with orange color. This is already green color. Now this I want to make it to a white fill. So shape format, shape fill, white fill, and I don't want any outline. And same way over here, shape format, shape fill, white fill, no outline, shape format, shape outline, no outline. Same way over here, shape format, and then you have shape fill, white fill, shape outline, no outline. So our rectangles are ready where we will be having the graphs. Now finally we want the buttons over here. As you can see, there are 4 buttons: dashboard, products, salesman and about. So let us see how to create these buttons. So again, come to our sheet and we click on insert, illustrations, shapes, and we select rounded rectangle and we draw one rounded rectangle like this. You can adjust the size and you can adjust the width so that it looks proper. And I want to write text inside it, so I click on insert and text, and inside this I want to write down the text. So I can double click and I can just type dashboard. I would select the text by pressing Ctrl A. I would click on home and increase the size, change the alignment to center, middle, bold, slightly increase in size. Now I want to change the fill of this block to white fill, and the text I want to make it black. So I will select this text and home, black text, and then the rectangle I will select the rectangle, and shape format and shape fill I will fill it with white color. First button is ready, which is for dashboard. Second, as you can see, is products. Third is salesman, and fourth is about. So we'll just Ctrl D to duplicate it and bring it below this, and again Ctrl D, duplicate it, again Ctrl D, duplicate it. Then change this to products, change this to salesman, and change this to about. Now the text color, I'll change the text color to white, and the rectangle I'll remove the fill. So shape format, I would select shape fill, no fill, and the shape outline I will make it to white color. Same way the salesman is there. I would again click on shape format, shape fill, no fill, shape outline, white color, and the text color I will make the text color to white. And same way for products, shape format, shape fill, no fill, shape outline, white color, and then the text color you select and home, and change the text color to white. So you can see our dashboard is almost ready. Our 4 buttons representing dashboard, products, salesman, and about is over here, and the rectangles are waiting for the graphs. Next, we want to write down the text as the respective rectangular column headings. So let us come to our original sheet, and here you can see the headings are sales by months, sales by regions, and sales by products. So let us create these headings. So we come to our original sheet, we click on insert, text box, and we write down over here sales by months, okay, and we select the text, we make it bold, and we increase the size. Let's just take a look. So sales by months, so we will still increase the size a bit and adjust this a bit on the top so that we have space for the graph. And we want to remove the fill, so shape format, we select shape fill, no fill, shape outline, no outline. So you have normal sales by months. You can adjust the graph so that you have space for accommodating the graph well over here. And then we just copy this, so you can press the Ctrl key and drag it, so you get a copy over here, and again Ctrl key and drag it, and you get a copy over here. and again control key and drag it, you get a copy here, and control key and drag it and you get a copy over here. Now we'll change the headings. So first sales by months is ready. Now sales by region and sales by products. So we come back and we change this to sales by regions, sales by products, and then finally on the top total amount and total sale. So we come back to our original sheet and we change this to total amount and total sales. So let's see, it's total amount and total sales, and that figure will be coming below it. Now next let us see how to make this graph sales by months. So you can see you have the months over here and you have the sales figure here, and it's represented by a line graph. So we'll come here to our original sheet. We'll adjust these headings so that we get space for the graph. And we come into pivot table over here. And what we'll do is we'll insert one new pivot table, or rather you can copy the same pivot table over here. Come over here and control V to paste that pivot table. And I would select date. I want the date over here. You can see the moment you select date, all the relevant fields also come down. So I don't want anything other than the date. And for values, I want to see the amount. So I get the amount. Now if you don't see all the months, probably one of the slicer is active. You can click on dashboard and just clear the slicers by clicking on these buttons and come back to pivot table, so you can see your sales figures are ready. And now we want to make a graph out of this, so ensure that your pivot table is selected and you select insert and select graph, or we want a line graph, so we select a line graph and we select a suitable line graph. A simple line graph we'll select it, and afterwards these buttons are there. We don't want these buttons, so hide all field buttons on the chart. I don't want these headings, so I remove these headings. I don't want these figures, so I remove these figures. And I don't want this value, so I remove these values. And now for this line, I want the data labels. If you want, you can have it, or you can keep it like as it is. And you don't want these horizontal lines, you select them and delete the horizontal lines. And you can adjust the width of the graph. And then you can Control C, copy the graph. And then come to dashboard and Control V and paste the graph. You can close this pivot chart fields and adjust this so that the graph gets adjusted within this range over here. So you can adjust the height of the graph and the width of the graph over here this way. And you don't want the outline for the graph, so select the graph, select format and shape outline, select no outline, so you have the graph ready. And in the same way I want sales by region, so I click on pivot tables, I select this pivot table, I will press Ctrl C to copy, I'll come down and Ctrl V to paste. I'll click anywhere inside this pivot table and then click on pivot table, analyze, select field list, and I remove all the old fields And now I want region, so I click on region. You can see you have the region, and I want the amount, so I have the amount. And now I want a graph for this, so I select the data, and see the graph which I want is a column graph with the data labels on the top. So I will select this, I click on insert, and I will select a simple column graph. So you get the column graph over here. Right click on this and hide all field buttons. You don't want this value, delete it. You don't want these headings, delete it. You don't want the legends, delete it. You don't want these horizontal lines, delete it. Then click on one of these values over here, and you want the data labels. So right click, add data labels, and select add data labels. So you get data labels on the top. Press Ctrl C to copy this graph and come back to your dashboard and paste the graph by pressing Ctrl V. Close the pivot chart field and take this on the side. Adjust the heading and make room for your graph first. Then bring the graph. Adjust the size of the graph and bring the graph within the range. And you can adjust the width of the graph as well and the height of the graph as well. And you don't want any outline, so select the graph, select format, select shape outline, and select no outline. So you can see there's no outline. Finally, I want sales by products over here. So I adjust the products like this, and if you see again, it's a bar graph, and you have the products and the sales figures, but it is shown in percentage. So let's come back to our sheet and we'll click on pivot tables. Again, I select the product, I select the pivot table, Ctrl C, I come somewhere at the bottom, paste it, click anywhere in the pivot, click on pivot table analyze, select field list and remove the old fields. And now I want the item names, so I click on item names, and I want the sales figures, so I click on amount, and this time I want that this amount should be shown as percentage. So I right click over here and you have this value field settings. So over there I'll select rather right click over here and show value as and select percentage of column. So we will select percentage of column total over here, and it will show you the percentage of the column total. And then we select the data, and then we click on insert, and then we select bar graph, and we select a 2D bar graph like this. Again I select these buttons, hide all field buttons, I remove the headings, okay, I remove these access titles, I remove the legends, okay, and I don't want these bars, vertical bars, and I want the data labels, so right click and select add data labels, and then I will Ctrl C, copy it, come into my dashboard and Ctrl V, paste it, and then I will adjust the height of this graph and bring it within the range of the rectangle. And I don't want any border, So I'll ensure that the graph is selected and I'll click on format and select shape outline and select no outline. So you can see our 3 graphs are ready, and they are live graphs. So if you click on keyboard, you get data for keyboard, monitor, mouse. If you want everything, just clear the filters. Same way you have for various months, zones, and you can clear this, and same way you have for various months, you can see the results and you can clear it. Next we will see, we'll just drag this a bit on the top. And this as well, will drag it a bit on the top. Like this. Next we'll see how to calculate the amount and the sales total. You click outside just to see how the graph looks like. For all the other items also ensure that you do not have any particular borders for them, for the boxes, etc. Okay, so you have the format and you can change the headings, etc. Alright. So now we'll see how we get the amount and the sales figures. Now we will see how to calculate the total amount. So for this, we would click on pivot tables and we'll copy this pivot table, Ctrl C, and come to some blank location, Ctrl V, paste. Click anywhere inside the pivot table, click on pivot table analyze, click on field list and remove the old values. Now I want to see the total of the amount. So I click over here and you get the total of the amount over here. Now what we do is, we click on the adjacent cell and we type equal to, and we click over here to get the value from the pivot table and hit enter. Then we click on this cell, we right click and select format cells. In format cells we select number and we say use 1000 separator and 0 decimal places and click on OK. So we get the amount over here, which we will be putting in the dashboard over here. In the same way I want the sales, so I'll just select this pivot table, Ctrl C copy, come to a new location, Ctrl V paste. Now in order to get the total of the sales over here, what we do, we just change this formula into sum of amount. Instead of that, I click on value field setting and change it to count of amount. So it shows me the count. And then I'll take the value by clicking on equal to and clicking over here and you get the result. Now let us see how to substitute these values into the dashboard. So I click on this cell, I press Ctrl D to duplicate it and bring it below this like this, and same way I select this, Ctrl D duplicate and bring it below this like this. Then I select this value, I delete it, and then in the formula bar I type equal to and then click on pivot tables and click on this amount and just hit enter. So you will see the amount gets substituted over here. Now I will just select the amount and I will increase the size of the text and make it bold as well. Same way I come to this total sales, I select it, I delete it, and in the formula bar I type equal to and click on pivot tables and select count and click enter. Then I would select the text and I would click on home and increase the size and make it bold as well. And here my dashboard is ready. I can still increase the size a bit. So this is 16 and this also will make it to 16. So now it looks proper. So you have the total amount and the total sales. So once this dashboard is ready, making the other dashboard for product, salesman and about is very easy. So let us next see how to create the products dashboard. Now, in order to create the products dashboard, what we will do is we would right click on the dashboard sheet and over here we would select move or copy. Over here we would click on create a copy and click on OK. Then we would rename this sheet to products and hit enter. Now whatever things we do not want, we would delete them. Example, we don't want this data, so we remove these headings from here. And in the same way, we don't want these headings as well, so we remove these headings also. And we don't need these graphs, so we delete these graphs. Now let us see what all contents we want in the products dashboard. Remember, we are on the products tab of our sheet. So we go to our original sheet and here you can see you have the products dashboard and here you have sales by products. So let us first write it down over there, sales by products. So we come here and it's sales by products. And I'll just maximize this size up to here and I'll take these headings on the top. Now let us see what we want over here. So we come back to our original sheet and here you have top 3 selling products and top 3 less selling products. So we come here and we change these headings to top 3 selling products and we increase the size and we select top 3 less selling products. Now let us see how to get these values, that is the graphs, top 3 selling products and top 3 less selling products. So we click on pivot tables and we select this pivot and we press Ctrl C and paste it over here. We click over here and from this we remove the old pivot values. So what I want the item names, so I click on item names. You can see the item names and I want the quantity of that item sold. So I click on quantity. Now in this quantity I want to see the top 3 items. So I click on this drop down, and over here you have value filters. So you have top 10. So in this top 10 I change this value to top 3 and I click on OK. So you have the top 3 values here. Same way I'll again select this pivot and copy it here, and everything remains the same except that over here I want the value, instead of top 3 I want bottom 3. Then I would click on OK. Now let us make a graph for this. So I select this, click on insert, and in insert I select bar graph, and I select a simple 2D bar graph, and I right click over here and hide all buttons, and I don't want these headings, I don't want the legends, I don't want the vertical lines, I don't want these lines as well, and I want to add the data labels. And now I want to copy this graph. I'll just size it and make it small. Then Ctrl C, copy. This is for the sum of quantity and showing the top 3 products which are being sold. So I press Ctrl C to copy and come into products and Ctrl V, paste. I close this pivot chart fields and I adjust this and stretch it across, and then I don't want this outline, so I select format, and shape outline I select no outline. So you have the graph ready. And same way we want the top 3 less selling products. So again I click on pivot table, click anywhere inside this, insert, and I select graph, and I select 2D bar graph. Again I remove this button, I don't want the headings, and I don't want the legend, I don't want the axis titles, I don't want the vertical line. However, I want the data labels, and I'll size this up, and I'll bring this down here, and I'll Ctrl C and come into products, and I'll paste it here, and I will adjust the size of my graph, and I would format it, and shape outline I would select no outline. So these are my top 3 selling products, and these are the top 3 less selling products. Now these products I don't want should get affected by these buttons for item. So what you have to do is you have to click anywhere on this, and after that click on slicer, and in slicer you have report connections. In these connections you have to remove the connection of that slicer with these 2 pivot tables. But for that you should know the names of these 2 pivot tables. So let us go into pivot table and click on this pivot table and click on pivot table analyze. So over here where you have this pivot table, you have the name pivot table 22. That's the name of this pivot. And same way we click over here and again pivot table analyze, and you have pivot table 23. So pivot table 22 and 23 we want to disconnect them. So we come to products, we select the slicer we click on slicer, report connections, and over here table 22 and 23 we disconnect from this slicer over here. Now we come to sales by products. So again we click on pivot table and we copy this pivot, Ctrl C somewhere at the bottom, and we click on pivot table analyze, field list, and what I want in this pivot is I want the item names and I want the quantity sold, and I want the graph for this. So I select insert and I select graph and I select 2D column graph, and I hide all field buttons. I don't want the chart title, I don't want the legend, I don't want the access title, but I want to give the data labels, and I don't want these horizontal lines, and I would like to see Ctrl C copy and come into products and Ctrl V paste and adjust the height of these products. Okay, and now see the name. Let us see the name of this pivot. So pivot table, and we select this and we click on pivot table analyze, pivot table 24. So we come to products, we click on slicer, we select the slicer, and in slicer you have report connections. Ensure that pivot table 24 is selected. Only these two tables we don't want the connections because they will be static. And now you can see that you get data for all the values. You can go for all the zones, zone wise figures, but these values you want that they should remain static. Okay, so with reference to this they will never change. With reference to this you can have the values changing, but with reference to the items you want that the values should not change with reference to the items. So here whether you change 1, 2 or 3, nothing will happen over here, but rest all you will see the changes happening. So our products tab is also ready. Next let us see how to make the Salesman tab. So for this we would right click on products and select move or copy and select create a copy and click on OK. We would rename this sheet to Salesman and hit enter. Now we'll delete all the unwanted elements from this Salesman sheet. Ensure that you are in the Salesman tab and you delete the graphs which you do not need. And here we will write down top 3 performing salesmen. And we will increase this, and here we will rename this to bottom 3 poor performing salesmen. And we'll increase this. And let us see what is the heading over here. So we come into the original sheet. It's just sales by salesman. So we just change this to sales by Salesman. Now let us see how to make the graphs for the top 3 performing salesmen. So we click on pivot table. We will just make space. We will copy this pivot table, Ctrl C, come at the bottom and Ctrl V paste. Then we click on pivot table analyze. We select field list and we remove this field list. Now I want the salesman name, so the salesman name comes over here, and I want the quantity which is sold by them should be shown here. And now out of this I want the top 3 performing, so I click over here and in this value filters, top 10, I select top 3 performing salesmen. Same way I'll copy this pivot one more time, take it at the bottom, and over here I'll just change this to, everything remains the same, instead of top 10 or top 3 I'll make it to bottom 3 performing salesmen. Now I want to make the graph, so select the upper one, select insert, select graph, and I select 2D graph. I right click over here, I right click over here, hide all field buttons on the chart. I don't want the chart heading, I don't want the legends, I don't want the axis title, I don't want the vertical lines. I click on the bars and I add data labels and I reduce the size and I Ctrl C copy it, come into the salesman, Ctrl V paste it, close the pivot chart field, drag this down and adjust this so that it comes here. And you don't want the border, so format and shape outline and you say no outline. Same way we want bottom 3 poor performing salesmen. Click over here, click anywhere on this pivot, insert and click anywhere on this pivot and select insert and select graph and select 2D bar graph and right click on the salesman, hide all field buttons. I don't want the chart title, I don't want the legend, I don't want the axis title, I don't want the vertical line. I'll click on the bars and add the data labels. I'll adjust the width of this and I will say Ctrl C copy, come into salesman and Ctrl V paste and bring this here and adjust the width. And you don't need the border, so select the graph, format and shape outline and select no outline. Format, shape outline, no outline, click outside, so it's gone. Same way we want sales by salesman, click on pivot table, select pivot, Ctrl C, come at the bottom, Ctrl V, click on pivot table, analyze, field list, remove the old values, and what I want is, I want the salesman name to be shown and I want the quantity sold by the salesman should be shown. And now I want the graph for this, so insert and I want the column bar and right click over here, hide all field buttons. I don't want the chart heading, I don't need the legends, I don't need the horizontal lines. I don't need the vertical axis. And I need the data labels, and I'll Control C, come into Salesman and Control V, paste, and adjust the size. And close the pivot table chart fields, and format, shape outline, no outline, and click outside. Okay, so your sheet is ready. Let us see if it's working. Okay, so it seems like everything is working fine. North, south, east, west, and you want all the values, and the top 3 performing salesman and the bottom 3 performing salesman. So our dashboard sheet is ready, our product sheet is ready, and our salesman sheet is also ready. Next, let us see how to make the about sheet. In order to create the about sheet, we would right click on salesman and select move or copy, and select create a copy and click on OK. Then we would rename this sheet to about and hit enter. Now we would remove all the unwanted things from this about tab. So I do not need these rectangles and I do not need these graphs as well. So I remove all these contents and I keep only one rectangle active, and I stretch this rectangle across, and then instead of analytics I change the heading to about, and then instead of this icon over here I'll insert a different icon. So insert illustration icons, and we select some icon like a profile picture, something like this or like this, whichever you prefer. Click on insert and bring it to suitable location in your screen and size it up and bring it here next to about. And now we want to change this contents of about, so I'll just show you what are my contents. So I click over here and this is the about. So it's just the project developer and the version. So I will just copy these contents to save time. I'll press Ctrl C, copy it, and come into our sheet and Ctrl V, paste. So it's just like some details about your products, like which version and who has developed, etc. So the about sheet is now ready. Finally, you have to do the linking. Let us see how to do the linking with the buttons. So click on dashboard, click on the first button, right click over here and select link. In link, select place in this document and click on dashboard and click on OK. Then click on products, right click, link, place in this document and select products and select OK. Then click on salesman, right click, link, select salesman, OK. Then click on about, right click, link, and click on about and click on OK. You have to repeat this for all the 4 sheets. So we click on products and do the same activity. We click on link and dashboard, we link it with dashboard. Products button, we link it with products button. Salesman button, we link it with salesman. And about button, we link it with about. Again we click on salesman and we repeat that. So dashboard, we link it with dashboard. Products, we link it with products. And salesman, we link it with salesman. And about, we link it with about. And finally in the about sheet, the last time, dashboard, link with dashboard. Products, link it with products. Salesman, link it with salesman. About, link it with about. Now one last change. See, when you are in dashboard, that time I want the dashboard should be white, rest all buttons no fill. But when you are in products, that time I want the products button should be filled with white color. So I click on products and I click on shape format and I shape fill with white color, and the text is there. I want to change the text color. So I want to change the text color to black. So text color will be changed to black. And for dashboard, I want that the dashboard shape format and the shape fill should be no fill, and the text color should be white. Not the fill color, it's the text color I want to be filled with white. And for this outline, I want the shape outline to be white color. So shape outline, I want it white color. Same way the products, I want it should be filled with white color, and the text for products would be black, and the dashboard, see, because they are hyperlinked, that's why this issue happens. So shape format, shape fill, no fill, shape outline, white. So that's how your products would look. That's how your dashboard would look. But in dashboard, this should be in white color and the fill should be none. And the dashboard color, fill should be white, and the text color should be black. So this is how my dashboard should look. This is how product should look. Same way you come to Salesman, right click on Salesman, shape format, and the shape fill with white, text fill with black. And for dashboard, in Salesman, shape format, shape fill, no fill, text fill black, and shape outline white color. So this is how your salesman should look. And then click on About. Again in About, shape format, shape fill white, text fill black, and rest everything shape format, shape fill no fill, shape outline white, text fill white color. So that's my About tab, that's my Salesman tab. Here the dashboard text fill or the text color should be white. So that's my About tab, that's my Salesman tab, this is my products tab, and the dashboard tab. Now let us see whether the tabs are working. So this is dashboard, this is the products tab. You can see I am in the product sheet. This is Salesman, I am in the Salesman sheet. This is About, I am in the About sheet. And this is dashboard, I am in the dashboard sheet. Finally, you can click on view, and if you don't want the grid lines, so turn off the grid lines so it looks more aesthetic, and you can see your dashboard is now ready to use. So friends, hope you have learned something new in this exciting session on how to create interesting and fun dashboards. With this, we end this lecture, and if you like this lecture, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next lecture. Till that time, goodbye.